Welcome to another episode of Marlborough Junior Reporters. We're here with Ed from Animal Adventures in Bolton.
How you doing?
Good.
Thank you for coming on, Ed. Now, for my first question, I'd like to ask, what is your position here at the zoo, and how did you get there?
See, my wife and myself are the founders of it, so got here just by starting it up. We didn't really know what it was going to turn into, but it's 28 years we've been in this spot. And so, yeah, we kind of just oversee everything.
Yeah, well, where do you even start, founding a zoo? It must take a while to do all that.
Yeah, we didn't really intend to start a zoo. It was never my mission. My wife grew up in the Midwest doing horse rescue, and I grew up with my mom doing all kinds of animal rescue, and I just never grew out of it. So people would always bring me their animals, and I just got to the point where people were asking me if I could travel around and do talks and birthday parties and things. And I said, sure, I could do that. Then people started offering me money, so I said I could do that. And because I was working a lot of hours to support the animals outside the animal business, but it's hard. So having the animals help finance themselves, I guess, is helpful, and we get to educate a lot of people and give it's literally thousands of animals homes that wouldn't have had homes, so that's kind of a cool thing.
Thank you.
What's it like taking care of all of these different and unique animals? What's the caretaking like?
There's a lot of different emotions when it comes to that. It's absolutely awesome in some aspects because you get to literally save the life of some animals. Right now we're dropper feeding baby monkeys and stuff that needed a home. It's exhausting in a sense because you don't get to sleep. Some animals are, depending on when they come and what they are, have to be fed, every 2 hours, every 3 hours, and you can't just have anybody do it because depending on the species, they can aspirate, choke on the milk real easy, so I don't like to trust anybody other than my wife, myself, and some of my children to do that. So right now we're in the middle of one of those mentally exhausting things where we don't know when the last time we actually got a good night's sleep. It's rewarding, but it's also stressful. It shouldn't be stressful, but a lot of the just all the regulations make it very stressful. So as much as I love it, as much as I love animals, I don't know if I would do it over again, to be honest. I don't know. It's maybe probably in North Carolina or something, But it's rewarding. I say that, then people say, what else? You could never see yourself doing anything other than rescuing and talking about animals. So it's a lot of emotions with the animals, I would say. Josie, come here. So this is Josie, the African vervet monkey. We took her in as a little baby. We kind of have a special bond. I can only stand in front of her for a minute or so because then she gets overstimulated. See how she wants to groom me? And then she'll stop biting her foot. So what I do is at night, especially tonight when it's school, I have a class I'm teaching, an adult zoology class that gets out at 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then after everybody leaves, I just go in there and shut the door and sit with her and let her groom. And you can't rush her. You can't rush a monkey. They really need to take their time. So she's definitely one of my favorites, Stole my heart at an early age, a couple weeks old, this one. So she's pretty amazing. And there she is grooming. And then right next door, we'll have Solomon. He's another one of my favorites here. He's 250 pounds right now, maybe a little more. It's been a little bit since we weighed him, but he'll end up at, could hit 500 plus pounds. It's an Aldabra. It's one of the 2 Galapagos species, though. These are the Galapagos, probably slightly bigger than this, but the largest tortoise species in the world. So I got him as a hatchling, just a few inches, 3.5 inches I think he was when I got him. And now he's 17. I mean, there are some records of tortoises hitting 200 years, so I'd say an easy 100 for him, He gets plenty of food, which he's wiped out most of it. But we have him walking around grass a lot, depending on how many people here. If there's a lot of kids, it's hard to keep them safe all the time. But we put a bed of hay, and then you put boxes of vegetables and stuff on there. He just eats them all. He doesn't love zucchini. Other than that, he cleans his plate. Yeah, he's neat. I have to pick up another baby pool. I buy him baby pools, and sometimes I've had him last 10 minutes. I've had him last, 2 weeks. He just crushes them. You got to buy one. You got to sink it in, but then you have to make sure you have, you have to pump it out because he'll go to the bathroom in it. So you just have to pump it out into the woods.
Just got a good shot of it.
Well, I got that classic. Oh yeah.
So, what animal would you say is the hardest to take care of?
Well, I guess it depends on, as babies, if you're bottle feeding, macropods like kangaroos and wallabies are really difficult because they can choke on the milk real easy. And sometimes I have a wallaby right now that takes like an hour to finish 40 ounces of milk out of a small bottle. So those are hard just because there's no room for error. Same with any kind of real baby animal, like the monkey, anything you feed out of a dropper or a bottle that has to be slow fed, you're always extra cautious because you can't plunge it too fast. You got to do everything just perfect, which we have so far, never caused any issues with an animal. As far as danger goes, if you have to, like when we do our rabies and distemper shots, some of the cats and stuff can not really love that, Most people think the big snakes and alligators and crocodiles are the most difficult, but the reptiles are pretty easy compared to mammals. They're pretty easy to deal with.
How did people know to contact you to take their odd and exotic animals?
Man, that's a good question. I think a lot of people just see us on Facebook and social media and all that, and then we travel to literally thousands of different locations, so people just know people, and they just word of mouth. And then I guess it spreads in the zoo industry, because this year in particular, we've had calls from a lot of zoos from many different states with what they call surplus animals, or animals that got injured or weren't born right. And I don't know, it's usually somebody told them and somebody told them. And I think just doing it so long the word gets out. And also, as not a lot of us privately owned facilities, so we have a lot of the bigger facilities have more, it's almost impossible for them to take in animals. For us, we can still do that. So I think that's probably how, desperation they find us, that's for sure. So he's my big Carpathian lynx. We took him in as a kitten with all kinds of health issues. He was 143 pounds, and he's not fat, he's big boned and husky. We had a lot of touch and go when he was a baby. He had a lot of issues, just stuff he was born with. Then over here is Rafiki. He's gonna be pretty hot today. And we just finished a big perimeter fence. All this big fencing here can come down and we can go with this stuff. Hi, bud. So here's my gray fox. Hey, buddy, Rafiki. Huh. So I go in with all the animals for enrichment and check for, ticks, cuts, scrapes, ear infection, anything like that might be common to animals. So I go in and give them regular inspections. At least 3 times a week I go in and give them a complete going over. So they put you in here for your food and they didn't release you, huh? So when they go in and clean that, which they gave him fresh food and water probably a little while ago. They changed his water. On the hot days, you're doing water several times a day, but then they put him in here so he can't bite them, and they didn't take him out. They probably want him to eat his food. So this is just a shift pen. All the bigger facilities have shift pens. That way you can have a newer staff go in and not worry about them getting hurt, you know? But, so he's pretty special. And then,
He's pretty cute too.
yeah, he's pretty cute. They're very vocal. And handsome, right?
It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys, too.
And I have 3 questions if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind at all. This is actually relaxing for me because I have my phone on Do Not Disturb, so they can call me. They'll get hold of me when they get hold of me.
So one of my questions is, what is your biggest worry when it comes to the animal industry?
That's a great and complex question. I get that at universities and stuff, and I'll just be honest. My biggest worry is the government. The over-regulation, the overreach. The government can come into our facility. People complain about us all the time because they don't take time to ask. The wild is a scary, tough place. It's beautiful, but I tell people it's like going camping. I love to camp for a week without electricity or, running water. But after a while, I'll have to say, I don't mind air conditioning. I don't mind a warm bed. I don't mind an oven and food, right? And so the wild looks beautiful, but we have a big misconception, which I had for the first 35 years of my life. This is only the last, 25 years that I've really started to fully understand. I think some of it just comes with knowing more people, doing more research, having more of an open mind. I was raised kind of maybe with a closed mind towards some things, and just having people have an open mind. So then people come and they complain, and then the government constantly, they can literally come here and shut you down. That sometimes I try not to think about it, but that can be concerning when you're sitting here and all of a sudden all these government officials show up. My only concern really running the industry is the government. Yeah, if the government was out of the scenario, I would love it so much more.
Do you also think it's because you have a lot of surrender animals?
I know the people that, I think, like, for instance, I'm not, for legality reasons, I can't name names or anything, but we've been offered reality TV shows and all that, right? And the reason why from places from New York, California, or any place else, they come out here, and these are well-known places that have, I just don't want to get myself in any kind of trouble, but these are places that have well-known shows on TV. But the reality of it is they don't actually, we filmed yesterday a reality TV show, nice people, but then they were going to recreate the whole trip that they manifested in their brain that didn't actually happen, right? So when they come and meet with me, what they want me to say is that people are terrible, animals are good, and I'm the savior of the animal world, right? But it's not true. The people that bring the animals, 99.9% of the people that bring animals are awesome people. Like, let's say you had a pet and you wanted a sugar glider, and you did all the right thing, you did your research, and you thought it was a great idea, and then you realize it bites a lot and doesn't allow you to sleep at night. So you tried, it didn't work out, and then they're very nice people that bring us the animals. We have had a few severe cases. I like to be straightforward and honest,
And does that also affect the amount of animals you house?
We have to say no to some. Yeah, as far as the government, it does, because there's some animals. I'll give you a quick example. Somebody showed up one day with a pot-bellied pig, and they didn't call us or anything. They just showed up, and it was like literally stuffed in. I don't know how they even got into the kennel, into their car, right? So this is a case where the person had an apartment. They had a lot of money, like they were out, and I won't mention this is Ritz area of Massachusetts, Boston area, right? And so money was not an object. They just thought it would be cute, kept it, in a penthouse, and fed it whenever it wanted, and treated it like a human, which you should not do because they're not actually humans. It's a pig, smart and all that, but they have different needs. And then it got so obese, she was afraid to take it to the vet, drove it here. Sometimes we say no to animals because don't want to. It would take me like 3 or 4 hours to build something suitable, and then a week to get it situated with other animals. So if I had more of a cushion, I think a little bit of time to temporarily set animals up, I think I could then find them bigger homes. Like I connect with different farms. If I had a window, if they said, oh, we'll give you a week, but it really depends on their mood. So I think without the government involved, I could do a far better job, and I could take in more animals, and yeah.
So essentially, it's the government that's really in your way of helping more animals.
Yes, I would say 100%. Okay. They have all the heat lights off because of the heat today. But there's some smaller reptiles in here, and then there's a sloth. Someone dropped off. So these are typical things that we don't get warning. A school just showed up and said, "We hatched all these. Here you go." So now I have all these chickens I got to try to give away.
My old school hatched chickens.
Yeah, the schools bring them to us all the time without asking. There's crocodiles, and there's a 20-foot python. We just took this one in 2 weeks ago. That was in someone's house.
What?
They bought an expensive cage for it and it broke right through, so they had it locked in a room. Showed up, they had it in a tent in the back. They rented a U-Haul, and they got it into a tent and showed up with that in the tent. So that's a West African Nile crocodile. This is Victor. He's the one I was talking about. Victor's kind of special. These are all drop-offs. There's 3 alligators in here now. And Bubbles is the biggest one. He's several hundred pounds, that one. These ones here are probably like 200-300 pounds in that area. So this room is going to be gutted before the fall. That's the plan.
Yeah.
That's Bubbles and Victor. So when I come in, I'm one of the people that feed them. So they're like, "Oh, is it feeding time?" We're feeding actually tonight for my adult zoology class. We'll feed them. That's part of the class today, is teaching them how to safely feed some of these animals. Yeah, I do these kids might be interested. I do a Monday night one, and I do it super cheap just to try to cover costs of electricity, just to kind of give kids something to do. Me and my 15-year-old daughter, she's almost 16, my 19-year-old son teach that together. Then the adult zoology class, me and my 20-year-old granddaughter teach that together. So, eating once, and tonight we'll give them a second feeding. You'll get biscuits and sweet potato and stuff like that. Well, we go through tons of sweet potato. We had to have BJ's order extra sweet potato and bags of kale for us because we would go through so much of it, like tons and tons of it.
Ooh, this like a...
So a bearded dragon. So he was dropped off. I have bearded dragons in another room, but he didn't get along with any of them. He's a troublemaker, so he got his own house.
What's your favorite animal that you have here at the zoo?
Ooh, that's a hard one, man, because I have favorite kinds of animals and I have favorite individuals. So my favorite kinds of animals are turtles and crocodiles and alligators. There's a lot of reasons for that, but my favorite individual animals, I have some animals I have some history with. Like, we put a lot of hours and sleepless nights, and with the veterinarian said there's 0% chance of survival, and they're 10 years old or so now. So Josie, my vervet monkey, I mean, I get sad when any animal passes away, but there are a few animals that have passed away in my life where you're like, man, I don't want to think about it, you know? Then Aslan, my Carpathian lynx, and then Solomon, my big Aldabra tortoise. He's like 17 years old. I don't know, but if I think about any of it, Rafiki, my fox, I have a gray fox that somebody tried to get into the fur bear industry with a gray fox, which they don't use for fur. It was a big whole story, and so we paid a lot of money to get him here, to save him, and he bites everybody but me, so I kind of like him, you know. So yeah, so I'd say Josie, Aslan, Solomon, Rafiki, but man, then I could think of all of them. I really love Victor the crocodile. You know, it's hard to pick some, but those are probably the ones that come to mind first. Yeah.
But our kangaroos that you guys asked about are right here. We have 3 red kangaroos. So the biggest one right here, that's Tico. He's our adult male. He's about 8 years old. So he's one of our older kangaroos. The little one over there, that's Tasha. She's our young female. She's only about 10 months old. So very young still. She's under a year old. And then over here in the separate enclosure, we have another young female kangaroo, and her name is Tabitha. She's just about 2 years old.
Cool.
Yeah. And if you guys have any specific questions, I can answer those for you. So yeah, Tico right here. What's up, buddy? He's pretty lazy. He was neutered when he was young, so that's why he's a lot lazier and non-aggressive compared to other kangaroos. Tabitha over here we separated her because Tico didn't really like her too much, and we were kind of scared for her safety, but luckily these two got along just well, even though they're not related at all in any way. But the little ones, Tasha's very curious, very active since she's so young. In the mornings, we'll let her run around in this area out here so she can get all her energy out. And kangaroos, they'll go in their mother's pouches until they're up to 2 years old. So she's only 10 months old, so we do have a makeshift pouch for her that we'll let her crawl into sometimes. She'll hang out in there.
Thank you, Ed, for letting us come to Animal Adventures.
Oh, my pleasure.
And thank you for tuning into this episode of Marlborough Junior Reporters.
Junior Reporters. Junior Reporters. Junior Reporters. Junior Reporters. Junior Reporters. Junior Reporters. Hi, Tingle. Hi, Tingle. Hi, Tingle. Hi, Tingle. Hi, Tingle. Pretty bird. Pretty bird. Pretty bird. Pretty bird. Pretty bird. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Oh, thank you for watching.